back with another episode of Local Roots. Hi, I'm Todd Studer. We have made it to Friday, and something fun going on at Botna Bend this weekend. They are going to be serving up pancakes with the homemade maple syrup that was tapped straight from the silver maple trees there in Botna Bend. It's a free breakfast. They're going to be serving pancakes and sausage, also a coffee and juice. But if you are not a Potawatomi Conservation member, then you'll need to pay to park. That's $3 to get into the park. But while you're there, make sure you explore around. Take a look at everything the Botna Bend has to offer. And again, expecting a crowd. They said they're doing it rain or shine. There it is. And it'll be held at the lodge near the middle campgrounds at Botna Bend. So looking forward to a big crowd tomorrow to enjoy a free breakfast, courtesy of Potawatomi Conservation. Coming up today, we're going to take a little bit of a road trip. Well, a virtual road trip. I'm not leaving the studio, but we're headed east of Oakland, south of Atlantic, and just outside the little town called Lewis, Iowa, and we're going to visit with Joyce Isaacson as she is giving tours at Hitchcock House. Now, they're going to be closing for the season the following weekend, not this weekend, but the next weekend. So the last opening day, I believe, is September 14th. And then they'll be closing for the season and not open again until spring. So get on out, meet Joyce today. You'll be able to hear a little bit about what makes Hitchcock House so special and such a wonderful addition to what we have here in our region. So that is today's episode of Local Roots. If you're looking for all natural health solutions right here in Southwest Iowa, visit Bambi's Green Acres Natural Market. She's located in Council Bluffs, right off of Main Street at 805 South Main. She's been in business since 1997. You can find vitamins, supplements, essential oils, herbal remedies, bulk foods. Bambi is going to help you reach your health goals. Putting health in your hands, it's Bambi's Green Acres Natural Market. And do you or does someone you love need in-home care? Home Care Advocacy Network helps you maintain your own privacy in your own space while still receiving care and support with a personalized touch. Aging in place is critical for many people. Home Care Advocacy Network can meet those needs with an understanding that assisted living is best at home. HCAN of Southwest Iowa is the website, hcan.com/Southwest Iowa. You can go there to learn more. It's always a pleasure when I get to talk to somebody new and learn something new, and that is what's about to happen today. We are visiting with Joyce Isaacson over at Hitchcock House just outside of Lewis, Iowa. How's your day so far, Joyce?
It's been really well, going really well.
Well, I appreciate you taking a little time to talk with us because I know you're right in the middle of giving tours and you kind of took a break in order to be able to do this. And give us a real short version of what Hitchcock House is, and then I'll ask you a few questions about it. And so folks around here can learn more.
Reverend George B. Hitchcock moved here in 1853 with his family of 11. That included a couple grandkids and a bunch of his kids. They lived east of this house that we have right now in a cabin for 3 years while he built this house. And he did most of the work with him and his sons and his friends. And he was a millwright, so he was able to, and he was a stonemason too. So he did all the floors and all of the woodwork and the steps and all that stuff. And then he also did the stonework on the outside. So it's absolutely beautiful. It's kind of put together like a Jenga puzzle. And Reverend Hitchcock came here with two intentions. He wanted to be a minister for the Congregational Church and start preaching to people out here because he felt that they needed that religion around here. And he also wanted a place where the freedom seekers, the escaped slaves, could camp overnight or be safe overnight and get rest so that they could move on to where they wanted to go, which was Canada. And so the only place they were going to be safe was Canada. So he wanted to give them a place to be safe. So he built this house, and it's 30-foot deep and 40-foot wide, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's built in a Federalist style, which means it has no porch. And he built this house, moved in it after 3 years of living in that little tiny cabin. It's got nice number of bedrooms upstairs, and the main floor has a pantry, a parlor, a dining room, a bedroom, and a kitchen area, but we never have had electricity or plumbing. We have electricity now so that we can cool it in the summer. And then and a pantry, real nice pantry. in the basement, that's where we find the true treasure. It was built in the 1850s, like I said, and it was built in those days. They would build a house and they would have, say, a 40-foot wide house, but they would only have a basement for 20 foot of that house. And so there would be a wall. So Reverend Hitchcock concocted this idea that he would put a wall halfway through that basement, and then he would put a cabinet in there, and this cabinet would swing out. He could keep his fruits and vegetables and everything that Mrs. Hitchcock canned on that shelf, and it would swing out, and then behind that would be the extension to the room, and it would actually be where the freedom seekers could find comfort for the day, because they would travel at night and they would come here during the day. So he never got caught, and had he gotten caught, he would have been fined around $40,000 in today's money and spent 6 months in jail. So yeah, we still take care of this house. It's been redone. It was a working farm for 100 years after the Hitchcocks left, and then it sat empty for quite a few years. And people called it the Freedom Farm, and they pretty well trashed it. Some ladies back in the 70s, no, in the 90s. I'm not sure on the no, in the 80s. In the 80s, Alice Kay and Zoe Kay spearheaded a drive to buy the Freedom Farm and to get it all fixed up. And if you've ever seen pictures of it, you would think they were crazy, because you shouldn't. That was just nuts. But they did a fabulous job. They raised the money, the funds for it. They got people to come in and help them. And they got the Freedom Farm all taken care of. We opened in 1992 with a ribbon cutting, and it's absolutely beautiful. The grounds are beautiful. It sits way up high on a hill, and it was where the Mormons came through on their regular Mormon trail. And the handcart trail for the Mormons came through. The 49ers came through here. Um, John John Brown's trail, Jim Lane's trail came through this area, and they could see for miles and miles away. So we have a candle that they would put in the window, and if the candle was lit, the freedom seekers knew that they could come in that at that point in time, because it was a little iffy with him being a minister. A lot of people came here for him to give them pastoral care. So we had to be careful with that. So we have the candle in the window, and that was one sign that they would use to say, yep, you're welcome to come in here. So they would come into the basement through the outdoors. They would go down the steps and then go through the main basement part. There is a fireplace down there, and Caroline Hitchcock would probably have food ready for them and stuff. And then they would move that cabinet out and go into the secret room, which was extremely dark, and they would be quiet all day and rest while the life went on around them. They would get on another trail with somebody, or they would get in a wagon with somebody, and they would move on. The only problem I can ever see, I can't imagine trying to keep little children quiet when you were down there, and it's daytime and the little kids are wound up. And so we do have, on my research, I have found that they did give up opioids quite often, kind of like a Benadryl type thing to make them sleep. But the parents needed to rest, and they needed to be ready to go that night. So that's pretty
Yeah,
much
it was a different time. Yeah.
it
It was
was.
a different time then. And the things that we know now, they didn't know that about that kind of thing. Uh, where does your passion for this come from, Joyce? It's obvious that you have a lot. You sit on the board. You're very, very knowledgeable about Hitchcock House. Where was that seed planted for you?
Back in 1992, my kids and I were coming down the highway, and we saw this brown sign, and it said historical marker. And so we always used to go everywhere where there was a historical marker. So we came down here, and I just fell in love with it. I thought, wow, what history. And then when I retired, my daughter said, they're looking for guides. You probably ought to go do that. And so I just kind of got sucked in. But I love it. I'm sitting right now in the parlor, and this is my favorite room in the whole house. I love the parlor. You can see where all of our floor in here, almost all of our floor in here, is exactly the same wood that Reverend Hitchcock put in here. I mean, 172 years ago, he put this wood down, and we're still walking on it. The window wells are 21 inches deep, and so you can sit in there, and it's just a very homey, grandma's place kind of thing is where my passion comes from. And I just think that he was a lay pastor, and I'm a lay pastor, and I feel connected to him in that way. I just think what he did was so selfless. While he's raising 8 kids and taking care of everybody else, he was just a very selfless man. And he wasn't a real healthy man. He had lost an eye in a quarry out in Eddyville when he was working at a quarry. A piece of stone came and put an eyeball out. And then he always had trouble with his lungs. And he actually died at, was he 62? I think he was only 62 when he passed away. So, but yeah, they moved on in 1865 and went down to Kansas to help freedom seekers down there because the 13th Amendment had been ratified by then.
We have a lot of history that is in our area, and you alluded to some of it. And I think it's wonderful that Hitchcock House has been preserved. And also the fact that you know how you tie that into so many other things that happen through the area. I'm sure as you're giving tours, you hear a lot from people that, well, I didn't realize that we had this much history right here close to home.
Yeah, we had there's a I'm actually from Macedonia, Carson, Macedonia area, and so I come here, which is 20 miles away. We actually had Jim Brown come across the Nishnabotna River in Macedonia, and he had 6 teams. Nope, he had 3 teams of 6 mules each team, and all 3 of the cars were loaded with freedom seekers. And he came through down in Macedonia, and there were a couple, at least 2 that I know of, places for people to rest in Macedonia. Reverend Hitchcock was also real good friends with Tabor Reverend Todd down in Tabor. And there was a story
Mhm.
that one night a young girl showed up at Reverend Todd's house and she didn't have enough clothes on and coat and stuff, and it was cold. So he bundled her up as a female, like if it was his wife or something, put her in a wagon, and he brought her up here for Reverend Hitchcock to take care of. And we have a memorial
Joy,
out in there that we use for a few different things. There was a little girl that came through on the Mormon Trail, and her name was Miss Breacher, and she was dancing around the bonfire, and she fell in and was killed. And so we have that memorial to honor her. We have a memorial. The memorial also honors Liang, which was Reverend Hitchcock's oldest son. He went down to Tabor and Thurman area, and he was going to help the freedom seekers, the escaped slaves, and had guns, and he and his friend Chapman from here in Lewis, they took off to do this because they were 19 years old and they were cool and they were going to take on the world. Chapman was jacking around as young men do, and he ended up shooting Liang right in the chest and killed him. And so Caroline was never the same after that. Obviously, you wouldn't be. So we have the memorial to honor that, and plus that, 6,200 soldiers died in the Civil War, and we freed 3 million slaves. So there's a lot of history that can be tied to this area.
Joyce, tell me a little bit about times that people can stop by, days that they're open, that you're there to give tours, and just how can people learn more?
Well, we do have a website, and we do have a Facebook page that our president Kyla takes care of and does a fabulous job on our Facebook page. And it's Reverend George Hitchcock House, I think is what she goes under. We are open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 1 to 4:15 is our last tour. We won't be open after the September 14th, though. So, because it's too hard to keep the house open in the winter and stuff. So, anyway, our last day here is September 14th, but we will be open those other days. And if anybody ever really needs to know something or wants to have a big tour or something, they can call and maybe we'll be able to help them. I don't know, or they can contact them on the Facebook page because I don't know our number here. So, we
Well,
also
and
had,
also website, hitchcockhouse.org.
yeah. We also had the other history of the area is that there was a breakoff group of Mormons from the winter quarters over in Council Bluffs area where IFD is, and they came out here and made a town called Indian Town. And we also had, and right west of this area where you can see it from where the house sits, was 100 wigwams down there, and those Indians interacted with the Mormons. And we have different things that tell us what it was like for them to meet those Indians. So
Just fascinating. There's so much history right here close to home. I would highly recommend. And again, as you said, Joyce, going to be closing down for the season on the 14th of this month. But we want to first thank you very much for taking some time to talk with us today, and also thanks for the work you're doing. You know, it's important for us to remember. I'm a big history buff, and this is. To know where we came from, I think, is just as important as know where we're going. And you are a key to that. So thank you very much for what you're doing.
yes, I love it. I love it. I'm at home here.
Can't you imagine just standing there in Hitchcock House, listening to Joyce talk and seeing all of this history with your own eyes? So get on out, take a look. And again, as she mentioned, going to be closing for the season on September 14th. Castle and Associates of American Family Insurance, your local insurance provider for all of your home, auto, life, business, and farm insurance needs with 4 convenient locations. You'll find them in Trainer and Council Bluffs, also offices in Nebraska, in Bellevue, and in Elkhorn. They are local and in your neighborhood, ready to help you navigate the complexities of insurance today. Give them a call for your free quote. And when you're in the market for stylish, locally curated fashion that's close to home, visit Unique Boutique Iowa in Neola at 101 4th Street, your destination for trendy clothing, accessories, and distinctive gifts. Open Saturdays 10 to 2, Sundays 11 to 3, but you can always shop online. Go to shopubiowa.com and browse all of Jamie's new arrivals, graphic tees, denim, and seasonal pieces, perfect for any occasion. Unique Boutique Iowa, distinctive styles, heartfelt service right in Neola. Thank you so much again, Joyce Isaacson, for joining us today on Local Route. It was a pleasure hearing more about Hitchcock House, and I'm looking forward to seeing it in person. That wraps up today's show and also wraps up the week. How about that? It was a short week with Labor Day on Monday. We got a full 5 days next week, so get some rest, but also enjoy this early fall weather. My name's Todd Studer. We'll see you back here Monday morning.